What up, dude? Dudette.
Dudette. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm solid, dude.
We're recording on a day we usually don't record, which is Wednesday. And
so many things are happening today. A new episode is out.
It's so fun.
And we're recording a new episode on the day that it came out, so it's so much.
Yeah.
So much is happening.
It's so much, but Wednesdays are so fun because we get to see, like, things people thought were funny or like, I like today that someone posted something which spawned someone to think of something else, which was, are you a sit down or stand up wiper?
I had no idea. And now I'm questioning everything in my life.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like, I think people make assumptions based on their habits because it's behind closed doors. It's not something you talk to people about.
Like, I feel like I have to be sitting down to wipe my butthole because, like, how it's like that's how your cheeks spread apart and then you could get it. How do you stand up and wipe your asshole?
Okay, so I just pooped a little while ago. And then, so I was, like, very conscious about it. And it's kind of like the evolution of man, where I was like, the first wipe, I'm sitting. And I just kind of lean forward. And then I'm like, did I get it all? And then I'm like, no, I want to go back around. So then I stand a little. But I'm still, like, squatting with my legs apart. So there's still, like, an opening. And then I'm like, okay, yeah, I got it all, but, like, one more for posterity. And then posteriority. And then I, like, stand a little more, but I'm still, like, so I don't know. Yeah, it's kind of like
you can't get in there when you're standing up, though.
No, but you're not standing upright. You're like squatting. Still bent over.
I don't like working in any way. Like if I'm like doing a squat, which is like you kind of have to engage some leg muscles.
Well, you kind of lean on the end is what I noticed myself doing. Yeah, I was still basically sitting.
I don't like to get up.
Yeah.
Like I lean to one side, Yeah. And wipe my butt. But I'm still sitting down. I use a bidet. And I use like the wipes.
Oh, yeah.
My butthole is so clean, guys.
No, mine too. I use the wipes. I don't have a bidet, but I need to get one. But we can all agree you don't wipe back to front.
No, because that's how you get like every kind of infection in your cooter.
Or you get like poopy nuts. You get
front to back.
You get shit sack.
Oh my god.
You
get a crappy chode.
You get doo-doo taint.
Ugh. I don't want to know.
It taint where the doo-doo's supposed to end up.
You tain't supposed to wipe that way. Oh my god.
Did you drop your coin purse in mud? No, I'm a front wiper. I remember.
It's like a Dunkaroo.
Oh my god. I'm crying.
Okay. It's so hot in my room right now.
I'm so hot all of a sudden.
I'm wearing a mock turtleneck right now. What the fuck?
Is it like cool in there?
It's like folly here, so I'm going to an Avant after this. So
oh my god! Well, you're gonna have like pit stains.
I'm wearing black. It's fine.
Okay.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. Okay, so we have some exciting news.
Yes.
By the time this episode is posted and live, we will have launched a Patreon.
Patreon.
Yay!
What is a Patreon, you say? A Patreon is a place where if you feel like we deserve any sort of money for what we're doing, you can give us some, because it takes a lot of time and energy and also money to produce this here PCast.
Yeah. It's just for if like you really appreciate this, if you find yourself laughing in your car, if you love being part of the Facebook group, if you love Wednesdays or whatever, like if you just enjoy this, you know, obviously it's free and that's cool and we love doing this, so we're doing it regardless. It's not like you know, we don't need the money to continue doing this, but what will happen if, you know, we are able to get some monetary support is that we can do more for the podcast. So one of the goals we have is to create merchandise, and we're working with a friend of ours who's super cool and has a screen printing business. We're working with him to create a logo that we can use for merchandise and maybe long term for the podcast. That is easier to print on things and use, I guess, in multiple capacities.
And we're not gonna fuck around with some bullshit
clip art
or, you know, crappy t-shirt quality. We want to do it right, and we want to make sure that it's like something that you would actually wear in public and not like just to bed.
Right. Like I want it to be something I wear like around town. And
and I want people to be like, "Oh my God, that's a cool shirt. What is that? What's whatever it says on the shirt."
Yeah.
And be able to like be a walking billboard for the podcast.
Oh, and I'll be like, "Oh, it's like this really great podcast hosted by these like super funny ladies, and they talk about buttholes and dicks and vaginas and everything, and I don't co-host it or anything."
No, I don't know who they are.
I've never met them before in my life.
I wish I did.
Yeah, they seem chill as fuck, and they're just so fun. But yeah, so that stuff's kind of a little pricey to float, and since we're both unemployed, you know, it's something that we haven't been able to do yet.
This is our full-time job. We love doing this so much, and I want to be able to keep doing it and do it in the best way possible for you guys. So.
Yeah. So some of the rewards that we're kind of looking into are definitely bonus episodes. We're actually recording a bonus episode right after this on the Kentucky Meat Shower. It's only going to be available if you're a patron of a specific level, and so that's something that we will offer. We're going to do like Q&A sessions. We're going to do video content. We already have a bunch of stuff. You could check it out on the Patreon page. It's patreon.com/ or
DTFU podcast.
Yeah, DTFU podcast. You could Google it too. Just
I'll also put it onto the I'll put a separate social medias, and I'll put it on the website. So there's like all the information that you need, so you can go to the website and find all the information there. So
yeah. So love it. Love you guys. Love it if you support us. If you don't, that's cool too. We're still gonna do this, so don't worry.
Will always be a free thing, and we love the support regardless if it's monetary or not.
Yeah. Speaking of which, share this episode with a friend. Okay, cool. Thanks. Bye.
Yeah, thank you.
So let's get into fucked up stuff of the week. I was going to talk about the Ted Cruz porn Twitter thing, but
oh my God, that shit gives me so much life.
Oh my God.
Because I used to work in politics, and I can't tell you how hilarious it is when shit like this happens. Like, whether it was actually him or an intern that manages a social media account, it doesn't matter. It's so fucking
fun
funny.
Anyway. Yeah.
It's so fun. And it always just makes me think of that gif of him trying to hug his daughter because it's so cringy, you know?
She's like, ew,
so,
no.
Yeah, like, get the fuck away from me. That's why I think it's actually him.
Yeah. I always think it's actually them. They just need to, like, scapegoat it to someone else. But,
yeah.
It just,
or they were hacked.
Yeah, quote unquote. It just reminds me to deliver this PSA, which I have delivered in the past, which is if you're going to look at porn, use an incognito browsing window. That is all. That is all.
Yep.
Lots of people watch porn. It's no
Porn's
judgment.
great.
Yeah, it's no
as
judgment.
As long as, you know, it's, like, consensual and not, like, fucked up. But, you know.
Right. Yeah, there's different levels of it. They make lady porn that's, like, not as what I would call obscene, I guess, in a way. But yeah.
I really just love seeing balls flop around. Like, it's my favorite.
Can you close up on everyone's butthole a few more times?
Oh,
that'd be great.
I'd love to see that hairless scrotum again. Thank you.
Yeah, so that's my PSA. I don't know if you have anything fucked up this week.
You know, I really don't know how to pivot into this from that, but I was going to go a little bit more sentimental. I talked to my mom yesterday, and I just want to say I feel so bad for in the past, like, I don't know, it was like a couple months ago, I was being such a little bitch about her, like, teasing about how my mom doesn't listen to the podcast. She totally does. She's, like, the most supportive mom ever. She's so sweet and so cute, and just so I was talking to her yesterday, and she's just like, oh, I just love you girls. Just tell Nicole I love her. I love my girl. And I'm just like, Mom, she's the best.
Oh, I think I knew she was listening again. I think it just took her a while to get into it. Because
she's a busy lady. Yeah. She's like a 4th grade teacher. Like, she's got a lot of shit going on. That's a hard job.
This is such an opposite thing of that. Like,
right.
Do you know what I mean? So, like, she probably has a lot of things to think about throughout the day that are, like, kid-related, and this is obviously not suitable for work, and...
Yes.
Yeah, all of that stuff.
And the time that she, like, is driving to work, she's, like, calls me.
Right.
You know, and is...
Well, and her drive's not that long.
It's not that long. It's, like, 20 minutes. Yeah. So, yeah, I just felt... my fucked up thing is that I just felt like a butthole, and I wanted to say that I love my mom.
Oh, I love your mom, too.
And I told her I'd tell you that she says hi, and she loves you.
Oh, I love her, too. And I say hi, too. And, yeah, we love our moms. My mom listens, like, a lot. And
she's the best.
Texts me about it. Yeah, and she's always saying to say hi to you, too. So,
we love our moms.
We love our moms.
Yeah.
Of course, they're our biggest cheerleaders, but it goes without saying, but we should acknowledge it, I guess.
Yeah. I just was being a dick about it a few episodes ago, so I just wanted I really wanted to clear the air, set the record straight.
Yeah.
Put all the cards on the table, whatever other fucking cliche.
To be fair, she wasn't listening then, though, so... Sorry, it's living in perpetuity. But we know you're listening now, and we love you, and yeah.
Anyhow. Well, that's it.
Also, I guess I'll give, as we're segueing into the topic, I guess I also want to give Pete a shout out, because I feel like we had an episode recently where he said to me, oh, that was the first time you said something about me, and it was, like, nice. And I was like, oh, that's awful. But
we love Pete. Pete's the best.
Pete's the best. Okay, I obviously love him very much, and we live together, and we share our life together. So, but you know, I tend to dig for things that are funny, and sometimes it involves him, and it's not maybe showing him in the best light. But I know, it was because he bought me a vibrator. He's like, that's
like the nicest thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I'm sorry. But anyway, we were choosing a topic this week, and tangentially, it reminded me of something that Pete had wanted us to do a topic on, so we kind of pivoted, and we're doing an episode on something that he thinks is really interesting and fun and funny, even though it's like also kind of tragic in a way. So this episode is my dedication to Pete, I guess. Like this one's for Pete.
This one's for Pete.
Yeah.
This goes out to you, Pete.
Yeah. So he's really excited about it, and I hope we do it justice.
Yeah.
But yeah. I think you also found another way that it's relevant to current events.
I think so. I feel like, okay, so it just came out in theaters.
Yeah.
Last week. And I think that this event would have given Pennywise the Clown a real boner. Or he might even be the one that orchestrated this whole fucking fuck up.
Is it like a balloon animal boner? Like how it goes
out?
Yeah.
One time real quick, I gotta tell a story. One time we were out to dinner at a local Mexican restaurant up in the mountains. You know the one.
Yeah. Go no further.
And there's like always been a dude in like the like shopping center who like makes balloon animals in the summertime, and he came in and he made a dick hat for like on purpose. Like we like made him make this for my dad. It was hysterical. So anyway.
Was it your dad's birthday or something? Or everybody just had margaritas? So, okay.
I think both. It might have been a margarita situation.
Yeah, maybe both.
Those one steps.
Oh, they're so good.
I don't know. So anyway, what we're talking about today is the Cleveland Balloon Fest of 1986. It sounds so fun and benign because the Midwest and balloons, just how much more scandalous can you get, you know?
It was fun, literally up until the minute it happened. I think people were excited. This was, Cleveland was having like a little bit of a hard time. Like their
football team is named the Browns.
Yeah.
It sucks.
Yeah, I don't know. It was just like basically I went a little deeper into Cleveland because I was like, let's orient ourselves on like this city. And before we get into this, because basically this event was supposed to be a big win for the city. They'd had some hard times. They peaked early. So it's like the equivalent of peaking in like middle school, I guess, because they peaked.
Oh, you're 11. This is as good as it's going to get for you.
Yeah. Oh, all of your features are in proportion, but guess what? Your nose keeps growing.
You're about to hit puberty and fuck shit up.
Yeah, so they essentially peaked in the 1940s and the 1950s. Following World War II, Cleveland was the place to be. It was like the complete opposite of today.
Aw, I'm sure it's lovely.
Just kidding, yeah. But Cleveland, I don't know.
I would say in the 80s. I think now it's like cool. It's getting cool again. They got some really cool stuff there. They've got like a great art museum. They have like a beautiful symphony. They have a great theater district. Like they got some cool shit.
You're right. It's like I feel like Cleveland, Cincinnati.
Everything fucking sucked in the 80s.
Yeah, everything sucked. But it was before that. So like, okay, they peaked in the 40s and 50s. Business was booming, and everybody was like bringing businesses to Cleveland. And then they were on like a sports roll. So the Cleveland Indians won the World Series in 1948, which P.S. they need to change that name.
Change that fucking logo, for Christ's sake.
Oh, yeah, the logo's real offensive.
What the fuck, man?
It's like a cartoony... Yeah,
it's bad. It's real bad. Anyway.
The Browns were actually a great football team at that point. They weren't a skid mark on the NFL until recently, probably.
I mean, I hope they're not named after Mary Brown.
Oh, are they?
AKA Mary Mallon.
Oh, wait.
Just kidding.
Who was I thinking of? Molly Brown from Titanic.
Molly Brown. Unsinkable Molly Brown.
I think they have an NHL team called the Barons, but they were doing good too. And they had a bunch of boxing and track stars coming out of the city, and they were dubbed the City of Champions. And then
isn't Jesse Owens from Cleveland? Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's not, yeah, great. Olympic champion.
Yeah.
So they really peaked in 1949, which is when they were named the All-American city, I think for the first and last time. And a lot of that probably had to do with like 90% of the city being white, because we were like super racist then.
Yeah.
More so than now.
Uh-huh.
And that was about the peak, because in the 50s and 60s, shit took a real sharp turn downward. There was a lot of social and racial unrest, obviously across the rest of the country, but in Cleveland it really was super detrimental to their economy. People started moving away from urban areas into the suburbs. And then in 1978, it became the first American city to default on its finances since the Great Depression. So it went from being like this business hub. It had a lot going for it. And then with all of the unrest that it had, it kind of plummeted. And then right before the Cleveland Balloon Fest of 1986, unemployment had peaked. So like they were really looking for a win.
They needed a win. They needed something good to happen. They needed some positivity. They needed some, unity.
Kumbaya.
Kumbaya, yeah. And what says, unity and kumbaya like a bunch of fucking balloons? I don't know.
A balloon makes me happy. Like
I know. Unless it's held by a terrifying clown. But,
well, yeah. I mean.
Yeah. So they decided in 1986 they were going to do a fundraiser for the United Way, and it was going to be a chance to put Cleveland on the map. They wanted to break this Guinness World Record for the simultaneous release of balloons set the previous year by Disneyland in like the OG Disneyland in Anaheim, California, which happened on the 30th anniversary of Disneyland opening. So
was there? I didn't look into this, but I don't know if you did. But were there any problems with that? I don't think there were, right?
I don't think there were. Yeah. I mean, Anaheim's pretty close to. I mean, it's really not near anything that I don't think it could disrupt, really.
Especially during the 80s, I feel like it still wasn't as developed as it is now.
Yeah, there was still a lot of like orange groves and stuff like that. Like it. I just don't think that, and like California has pretty stable weather, so like it would have been fine. So the same guy or the same company that was responsible for the Disneyland deployment was also involved in this event that they planned. This guy, it was called Balloon Art by Treb, which is a guy who it was owned by a guy named Treb Heining.
What a name.
And I don't know what Treb. Yeah. I don't know.
Like
some big treble. I don't know. I love that made you laugh so hard.
Oh
so
my
he
God.
gets so they do this thing through the United Way, and kids in the schools like sold the balloon sponsorships for $2 that went to the United Way. So it's like $2 for a balloon to get blown up, I guess.
Yeah.
So they designated this area on the public square, which is, I guess, like a park kind of area in downtown Cleveland, and created this like enclosed structure that was like as large as a city block. They erected like an enclosure and covered it with a mesh net. So, and it was like a one-piece net, and it was fabricated by the exact company who built the cargo nets for the space shuttle, which cool.
So far, everything sounds great. It's tracking. Really, I'm into this. I'm like, yes, go Cleveland. You're gonna win.
You're gonna rock this out.
Yeah. It's like fucking
your rock and roll Hall of Fame.
Balloon fantasy.
Hell yeah. So the structure's as large as a city block, covered with a mesh net. And underneath that, inside the enclosure, they have 2,500 volunteers. blowing up balloons. They worked a full night and into the morning to try to fill up 2 million balloons with helium.
Fuck.
So these people are working, and it's so festive. It's so fun. They have like news reporters like interviewing all the people who have volunteered. Like people are like getting like blisters on their fingers from tying knots and stuff. And they're just, but it's fun. So they stopped around 1.5 million balloons.
How many balloons would that be with today's inflation?
Oh my God. Like 3.5 million. I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know.
I could do the calculation in Google, but I'm not going to. I mean, so these people are like sitting under this like huge canopy of balloons that are like floating above them. It's so cool. It's like it looks like they're under like a giant like magic mushroom or something. It's the pictures are incredible.
Yeah, they're so good.
I mean, just imagine. That's a lot of fucking balloons. That's so fucking many balloons.
It's beautiful. It's like they're all colorful and like
it's joyful. It's so cool. And like the whole concept, I love it in so many ways. However, at around 1:50 p.m. on Saturday, September 27th, 1986, close to 1.5 million balloons were released from the Cleveland Public Square, engulfing the terminal tower and setting a world record.
Engulfing it in an awesome way. Like those pictures are amazing too.
It like looks unreal. It's so cool. It's so surreal, so trippy. It's awesome.
Up until this exact point, everything is amazing. Like there was even like high gust winds the night before they had released this. Like so many things could have gone wrong up until this point, but they got to this exact point.
And like they even made this enclosure, but like they kept the balloons in, able to withstand 90-mile-per-hour winds. Like they had everything.
Because it did the night before.
It did.
Yeah.
It was like crazy because they're like on Lake Erie, which creates its own weather. It's like being on the ocean kind of. So they had everything down pat, and you're like, great, this is awesome.
They're patting themselves on the back. They're like, we're no longer the mistake by the lake, which is what they were called prior to this moment.
Is it mistake on the lake or mistake by the lake?
Maybe mistake on the lake. Yeah, because they're on Lake Erie. Anyway, everybody it's like a moment where they're just like, oh, yes, this is it.
This is it. This is our seminal moment where things are going to turn around.
Yeah.
So they released the balloons a little bit early to account for the weather that was rolling in. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
And
smart.
They even made sure the balloons were they were specially made and were supposed to float up, disperse, and then eventually biodegrade. Mm-hmm. Like the material they even made them with was biodegradable.
Oh, so did that happen?
It sure didn't.
Nope. That's a no from me, dog.
That's a no. It is a big no. What actually happened was the weather they were trying to avoid when they released them earlier came up real quick. A cold front came up and it started to rain. So it pushed the balloons back down to earth. Balloons everywhere.
No.
So they had floated up and then they just came right back down.
Oh, no.
And they didn't go very far either. So streets were clogged up as they came back down to the roads and caused traffic jams and also like looky-loos and people being like, what the fuck's going on?
Looky-loos.
Yeah, it shut down a runway at the Burke Lakefront Airport. A bunch of balloons landed on somebody's property who owned Arabian horses. They're prized Arabian horses owned by someone named Louise Nowakowski. And she was not happy because I think some of the horses got injured because they were freaking the fuck out. And then many of the balloons ended up settling on the surface of Lake Erie, where a Coast Guard helicopter was searching for 2 fishermen who had disappeared the day before. And this is very fucked up because it ended up being such a problem. All these, I just want you to imagine hundreds of thousands of balloons on the surface of water. Colorful, bright balloons.
Orange, red, blue, green,
white. Green. Yeah. And they're everywhere. Trying to find a person amongst that is impossible. So they had to suspend their search.
Yeah.
And also, obviously, they couldn't fly the helicopter through all this. So.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's true. Well.
So even if they waited for it all to kind of die down and like everything to settle, they still couldn't find like a person in the middle of like hundreds of thousands of balloons. It was like finding a needle in a haystack. So they had to suspend their search. And unfortunately, those fishermen's bodies were discovered later. They washed up on shore much later.
To be fair, they went missing like the day before, right? Because they were reported the day of. Yeah, I mean, it's still, they still could have been found had there not been a bunch of balloons. Because you can't find, if the lake was empty and no balloons were on it, it'd be real easy to spot a life jacket, like a bright orange life jacket. Right. Or maybe even a head in the water. Like, you could see if someone was kind of bobbing around. Right. But there was just it was like literal needle in a haystack because you're looking for something so specific, but everything kind of looks the same.
Yeah. So that was deeply upsetting.
Yeah.
That these people were missing and they had no way of searching for them at this point. So it was a total and complete fuck up. Like,
it was just a disaster.
Like, it's, I don't know, like the fuck up of all fuck ups. Like, it was just so well intentioned, so sweet, but it was just such a massive, massive fuck up.
It's so like sad how the kind of like events must have gone down, because there's like this 6-minute documentary on this. It's not a huge, it's not like a long drawn out thing. They planned for this event, they executed it. It crashed and burned so quickly, but the people who were involved in it, literally leading up until like the moment the balloons were released, were so excited. It brought the entire city together. They really thought this is going to be what puts Cleveland back on the map. It's going to turn around our economy. People are going to want to move here. Like, they thought this would solve so much. People were, like all working together. Everybody's little bandaged fingers, like all these kids and like...
Yeah, there was like a lot of them were kids that were doing this. So it was supposed to be this like joyful thing, and it just turned into a horror show.
It made them look real dumb.
Well, it wasn't like a horror show. Like, it was the balloons weren't full of blood and like popping on people or anything. But it started out as this like really fun, benign thing, and just became this like really cringy, like, oh, this is out of control kind of thing.
Yeah.
Sometimes how I feel when people listen to the podcast, I'm like, oh my God.
Oh God, they know what my butthole looks like because I've described it so many times. No,
I just talked about how I wipe my ass for like 10 minutes straight. Somebody's going to be offended.
Oh no. And then I go, I don't care, bye.
Yeah. And then I just drink a drink and I'm like, whatever.
Yeah. Mine's almost gone.
I just literally assume that nobody is listening to this right now. So
that's what's so weird on like Wednesdays when people like quote something we said. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Someone heard that. That's fucking
oh God.
crazy.
Yeah. Whoops.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh no.
But yeah, so it just sucks. I mean, the people who organized it, I think kind of just
shit the bed.
They just did the Homer Simpson, like, into the hedge, like, well, see you later. Goodbye. Yeah. So the aftermath of this whole shit show was, I mean, to be expected. Balloons continued to wash up on the shores of Lake Erie for weeks after the event. And
then Canada had to fucking deal with it because they were on the other side of Lake Erie and they just all washed up on their shore.
Current took them out onto the lake, and the weather, whatever the wind, took it out to all the way up to Canada, and Canada's just like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck are you guys doing?
Oh, God.
So, yeah. Apparently, Guinness did not officially recognize this event. I'm sorry, that's so sad.
You can't fucking write this stuff. Like, I
know.
Like, of course they didn't. Oh,
doy.
Wouldn't you have somebody like on? Wouldn't you have somebody like on location the entire time you're doing this, being like, "Cool, so is this good? Does this still check out? Do you have the number balloon? Like, we're gonna make it, right? We're gonna make it into the Guinness Book of Records." Like, no, sorry. And, okay, but this is what's funny because the project manager of this whole thing, Gizmodo, did like a Q&A with him a few years ago, and his name's Tom.
After he was like 10 years later, after he was like I'm
30 years later.
I've gotten over my shame.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And I don't know if he's gotten over it. He deflected a lot, but his name's Tom Sheridan, and he says that Guinness did acknowledge the record, but then they said, okay, this was the most balloons released ever, and like closed the category so no one would ever do this fucking thing again.
I think that's probably correct.
Yeah, I think that's they probably don't want people trying to beat this because it's bad for the environment, and
it's bad for the environment. It's bad for it could go wrong control. In so many ways. Yeah, there's just like a lot of factors that
kids'
can get
fingers,
fucked up.
Like it just it was so well intentioned, but it wasn't great, and like.
Not to mention now United Way is affiliated with us. Like they, there's like all these names attached to it.
Yeah.
So, and they spent like $500,000 on this whole thing.
Yeah, that's $500,000, $500,000.
$500,000. Like
in the 80s, inflation, that's like $1 billion. And this guy, so they acknowledged it. They like maybe printed it in one edition of the Guinness Book of World Records, probably the 1987 edition. And then
they're like, this thing happened on, and it's like in small print, and with an asterisk, and they're like, bye.
It's like in the very back in the glossary, it's like, oh, by the way, this also happened, but like never mention it again.
We don't fuck with balloons anymore.
Yeah. And I thought maybe so when this guy was commenting on the Gizmodo article, his name was like Hawaii Tom or something. That was like his little...
The project manager?
Yeah, the project manager. It was like Hawaii Tom. And I'm like, oh, he like was so ashamed. He was like banished to Hawaii, which, I mean, banish me, please, because that's amazing.
No, he just wanted to get as far away from the scene of his doo-doo on the Midwest as he could.
Yeah,
like,
he really Cleveland Browned this whole situation.
Cleveland steamered himself, really.
Oh my god, but actually he went into like set design and did a bunch of like of the stunt work on Broadway, and I'm assuming because I'm a dick that he's behind that Spider-Man turn off the dark snafu that killed a person. Because this dude's shit is not in line.
Oh, now that's just
that's slanderous. I don't know. Yeah, I'm just kidding. It's a joke.
Oh,
it's
my
a joke.
God.
I don't mean it. But yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. So I don't know, man. This whole thing, it's just so sad. And what else happened? The horse lady whose horses got fucked up from this sued the United Way of Cleveland for $100,000 in damages and settled for undisclosed terms.
Wow.
That's another, like, obviously United Way is like, God damn it, like, this fucking shit.
But, like, because your horses were upset? I don't know.
Oh, I think they're very expensive horses. Like, they were injured.
Yeah, but, like, fucking get insurance. I don't know. Like, anything
you can't insure yourself against a balloon disaster.
Yeah, true.
I don't know. I'm kind of on her side.
I'm not.
The wife of one of the fishermen sued the United Way of Cleveland and the company that organized the balloon release for $3.2 million, and later settled on undisclosed terms. I mean, fucking fair.
Oh, no, because again, like, they went out the day before and were like...
Who's to say that they were dead already? What if they were still alive and they were, like, waiting for somebody to rescue them and they were, like treading water for, like, hours and, you don't know that.
But, like, a storm could have rolled in. Like, I don't know. I just
this
feel
was
like
a man-made disaster, though. They should have been sued.
But I don't know.
I am a lawyer. I'm not. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know, man. I think this I would have definitely, like, they could have gone missing at night and it was the day before. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we don't know all the details on that case. And then this is honestly the most upsetting thing to me.
Uh-oh.
I don't know why. But there's a quote that I found from Cleveland.com did a story on this. And it's like they had pulled a bunch of comments from people who wrote in about it. And this man wrote in and said, quote, "It is most distressing to see pictures of the mass release of helium-filled balloons, as such activity involves loss of a non-renewable resource merely to gratify the urge to observe a visual spectacle. Once released, the helium is gone forever, and this rare gas is hard to come by and is much needed in non-frivolous scientific and industrial activity."
Oh, fuck.
Yeah. That to me, I mean...
When did he say this? Was it in the 80s or more recently?
I think this person said this in, like, probably the 80s, or I don't know. I don't catch the, like, context of when this person wrote in about this. I couldn't tell if it was from then or if it was, like, in like retrospect of this years later. I'm not sure.
I know it's hard. Like, helium now is like a precious gas.
Yeah.
Like you used to be able to buy helium balloons and all this stuff, and now it's like pretty expensive, and you can't. I think it's like a little bit harder to get. Like, it's rationed almost or something. But I mean, so many of the things looking back, I feel like they didn't realize what an impact this would make, even on the environment or on the air travel that day or whatever. Like, it feels like that wasn't accounted for somehow, but they didn't know as much.
Right.
I don't know.
I think like experiential marketing is much more thought through these days.
Yeah. Well,
also
that Tom guy, the Tom Sheridan or whatever his name is. Yeah, that's his name. The project manager, that was the very last air stunt, like air specific stunt that a city could do or whatever. Like, now everything has to be like grounded.
It's like they're like in the rule book now of like marketing and PR.
No-nos.
They're like, don't pull a Cleveland. Don't pull a balloon fest. Like, like they're the cautionary kind of tale.
Yeah.
So, but still, I mean, the pictures from this event are fucking rad. Like,
the video footage, everything.
So we had mentioned this earlier, but there is a 6-minute documentary by this guy named Nathan Truesdell. Mm-hmm. Truesdell?
Yeah.
Truesdell. And it's only 6 minutes long, and I highly recommend people watch it because it's just the energy of like the event leading up to it and everything. You can just like really get the feel for it. It's just like a lot of like local celebrities and like news personalities are like on the scene, and everybody's excited, and these kids are stoked, and it's kind of a magical little documentary. So he really captures that. He gets all this like archival footage and just like pieces it all together and does a really good job. So and the guy that made this documentary, and I think it's just literally called Balloon Fest. He got the idea to do this by he like broke both of his arms and was in the hospital, and his nurse told him about this event, and he broke both of his arms by practicing for clown college somehow. So it all kind of comes
college.
I don't think so.
He
says in an interview with Cleveland.com, quote, late one night I was watching YouTube balloon animal tutorials for my application to clown college. I didn't get in. And I stumbled into the table and broke both of my arms. When I was in the hospital, the nurse told me about it. Like, what the fuck?
So,
this is what makes me think like Pennywise the Clown from It was really involved in this shit. Like, how the fuck are you gonna break both your arms making balloon animals? I don't know what the fuck kind of balloon animal you're making, but what the...
To clarify, he wasn't making balloon animals. He was watching tutorials on YouTube and stumbled into the table and broke both of his arms. How the fuck do you walk into a table and break both of your arms?
I don't think he walked into the table. I think he fucking
stumbled.
Tripped and fell and like
you break
landed
your face
awkwardly
or something.
I have fallen. I have eaten shit and I have never broken an arm. Knock on wood.
Yeah,
like,
same. Knock on wood.
I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, probably. But yeah, I don't understand. I'd like to dig a little deeper into how that actually happened. But
let's call him.
Yeah, let's call him. He's probably not busy. He didn't get into clown college, so.
No, whatever. He has this really successful documentary that's won a bunch of awards. Good for him.
Okay.
Good for him. Yeah, I just love that he got like so fascinated with it, and he like wanted to make a longer film, but there's just not enough footage and content to make something that's not super boring.
Do you think the nurse was Pennywise?
I think so.
Like, because how did that even come up? Like, he was like,
because he was like talking about making balloon animals probably, and he's going to go to clown college. And she's like, speaking of balloons, here's another disaster that happened because of balloons. I don't know.
Slightly bigger in scale, but people were injured.
Yeah. Anyway, I mean, and that's all that we know, like, for sure, of, like, unfortunate things that have happened.
Yeah.
That happened, because I'm sure there's, like, other things that happen. But those are, like, the major things. And I think the Coast Guard kind of search was pretty fucked up. And all that was very sad.
It could have been worse, probably, though.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, it definitely could have been worse.
People on the freeway and stuff or whatever were, like, stopping and gawking and, you know, and planes couldn't take off or land or whatever. Like, so much stuff kind of happened. I feel like it could have been a lot worse, but...
It could have been a lot worse, but it's just, like, the sheer magnitude of a fuck up that this is. It's like, if you ever feel bad about fucking up at work, just always think of this.
Poor Tom Sheridan.
I know.
He did fuck up at work.
He was able to shake it off and start working on Broadway.
True,
you know?
yeah.
Just put stuff in perspective and be like, oh, fuck, I fucked up this report to this client or whatever. Yeah. And then be like, you know what, though? At least I didn't release 1.5 million balloons.
I didn't embarrass a whole city.
I didn't embarrass a whole fucking city. I didn't put lives in danger because of a shit ton of balloons.
Yeah. True.
Perspective.
Yeah,
you know?
Perspective, yeah.
But I urge everybody to look at pictures, like Google this shit. We'll probably post some stuff on the Facebook page and on like all the social media accounts, the social meds. So people can see this. But oh man, what a fucking story.
Oh, it's so good. I had no idea about this. It's just like one of those things where you're like, oh, this didn't like this couldn't be that bad, and then like, oh no, it's sad. It's like really bad. They were trying to like make themselves look better, and they just no.
Yeah, it's just embarrassing. Yeah. It's so embarrassing. It just did not. They're very much after that if they weren't already considered the mistake on the lake, this really did a number.
This was the mistake on the lake.
In
so many ways.
Yeah. But you know what? Now it sounds like there's a cool scene there. There's like they have a history of contraceptive museum there now.
They have the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. They have Drew Carey. Just kidding. That's not cool.
No, he's fine. He's all right.
He's a nice man. Yeah.
Yeah.
He hosts Price is Right.
Yeah.
What do you want? Brown, 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 brown. They have all kinds of cool stuff there. If you're from Cleveland, fuck yeah. Go you.
We once ate at a Waffle House, not in Cleveland. It was in Toledo. But we've been to Ohio. We've been through there.
That Waffle House could have been anywhere.
It wasn't. It was in Toledo.
Holy Toledo.
It was in Toledo, Ohio.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
all right.
I think we're good.
Yeah, that's all I got. Follow us on social medias.
The social medias at DTFU Podcast on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. You can email us.
Go to our website, dtfupodcast.com.
Love it. And
check out the Patreon if you are so inclined.
We have Patreon now. Check out our Facebook group, our closed group. It's so much fun. If you hearing this stuff, you're going to love what people are sharing in there. It's very on brand. Or else we would delete it.
And kick you out.
And kick you out and tell you we hate you. No. Maybe we would.
We would never do that. We would just be like, bye.
Yeah. I'd be like, you're done here. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh my gosh. What a fun episode.
So fun.
Ugh.
Yeah. I loved it.
Me too. I loved it. It's so good.
Really a good change of pace from all the pooping shit. Yeah.
Except the first 20 minutes.
You right.
All right.
All right, guys. Be excellent to each other.
Yeah. That's it.
Goodbye.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Yeah. That's all I got. Bye-bye.